Hey folks, Dude here, coming at you, coming at you of all things. It's going to be another episode of the Knife Blog. This episode of Knife Blog is going to be literally the rarest knife I own personally. And I do mean absolutely scarce, exceedingly hard to source, and very, very rare. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a knife known as the Leilira. You know, of course, I'll put that in the bottom there. You guys can figure it out for yourself. I think it's actually, hang on a second here. Probably it's going to be like Veil. So, Leilira. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. I think it might be Leilira. So, the Leilira is actually a survival knife that was used by, of all people, the Australian SAS, also put together as a pilot survival kit, and it is literally one of the scarcest, hardest to source, most unusual knives you will ever, possibly, never encounter. Now, personally, how did I even hear about the Leilira? Well, the Leilira came to mind to me by years and years and years ago. One of those dim, distant memories where I remember reading about survival knives, and this little guy came up. No, it is not something along the lines of like a Swiss Army knife. No, it's not something along the lines of like another style of Swiss Army knife. Oh no, we're talking about something as an all-in-one, not a bunch of tools all in the same unit, but as something that is an all-in-one designed device to keep a pilot alive while still being small. So you might ask yourself, how big is a Leilira? Well, first and foremost, you're talking about a pilot survival kit. It literally has to be on the person at all times. It has to be portable. Can't weigh too much. Dude's trying to survive, bad times, all the rest of that fun stuff like that there. Well, it can't be very big. How big could it possibly be? Well, it could possibly be about this big. Right there. Comes with a sheath, and literally the actual knife itself is this little guy right here. Now, the way that it's actually constructed is it's what's referred to as a roll-over grind or a chisel grind. Literally what it is, you have a bias here, of course, two bevels, and then you have a roll-over edge. There is no edge on the bottom. It is a perfectly flat piece of stock with the edge ground over onto the top. Now, you might ask yourself, does this thing even really kind of balance? Surprisingly enough, yes, it does. This is actually designed by a gentleman in Australia by the name of Keith Spencer. Keith Spencer passed a couple of years ago, but he was a knife guy par excellence. And he had a company known as Sicut. So Sicut. And also, if you look at the knife, hopefully you can kind of see, but on the back of the knife, it says Sicut, so Sicut, which is Spencer Innovative Cutlery. Now, the wild thing is the Australians did not make this knife. This actually was made in Pakistan, of all places. Years and years ago, people who might have a mind for it, remember that the not best, stainless steel folders and what have you, they were really cheap, and they came out like crazy from Pakistan. You were buying the things for, like, ridiculous prices. They were, like, everywhere. Now, is there a line of thinking along the lines of the way this thing was built? Yes, there is. Like the Technic, it does actually have a hole for you to reference with your thumb. Also, it does have lashing holes in the handle. Now, you might ask yourself, how big is this itty bitty bitty blade? Well, let's just throw the Mark I ruler on there and take a snoop. And because we are speaking about Australians, you know what? We probably should do this right. Because we are speaking about Australians, we probably have to do this correctly. I'll just leave that off to the side. We're not going to be talking in inches. We're going to be talking in centimeters. So, total blade length is going to be 5.5 centimeters of blade length, which is not a lot, but if you think about it, 10 centimeters of blade length on the same knife with a double-edged cut makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. One side gets dull, you just flip it over and you use the other side. It actually can be attached to something, used as a spear point. Now, one of the other tricks of the trade I've seen people do with these things, who basically made recreations and weren't trying to ruin the original, is they took a piece of wood, split it, chucked this in there, and then took another piece of wood and stuck it in this handle, lashed it all on there, and made a bigger handle of which to do things. Because truthfully, this little dagger-style guy right here, it's actually holding it normally in like, kind of like a, the epee kind of a, your fencing type of a thing. It actually doesn't feel bad. You can get 2 fingers on there without too much trouble, like a big hands. But the kicker is, right off the bat, it is really not intended to be utilized like that. You probably want to put this thing on something else to give it more handle. Lash it on there with some shoot cord and good stuff like that there. But the actual overall length on this guy is only going to be 7.5 centimeters. Okay, for those people in the United States, you're going, okay, dude, how big is that? Blade length is about an inch. I'm going to say, charitably, almost 2 inches of blade length. So you're talking 4 inches of blade length total. Overall length on this guy is just a skosh under 4 inches. In centimeters, overall length is just about 12 centimeters. So it's an itty-bitty, itty-bitty. Druthers. A little while later, the Australian government said, oh no, double-edged knives are completely not acceptable. We can't allow people to have double-edged knives, even in survival situations, so this is going to have to go the way of the dodo. Now, what did they do? Well, I'm going to put this guy off to the side so you guys can continue to enjoy looking upon it. And yes, you do see I actually have the date here, January 2017. So that's not the correct date, but it is 2017. I actually got to work on this. This is a handoff from Mrs. Dude, okay? Now, there's a company known in Australia known as AKC. Yes. And that would be knifeaustralia.com. knifeaustralia.com.au for Australia. Now, the AKC guys literally are selling the second generation of the Keith Spencer design. It actually took away from the double-edged variety, and it came out with the latest iteration. I actually bought a few of these because I wanted to have them for my own personal collection. Now, the kicker is you get the box. You open up the box, and you find the next generation of Keith Spencer's goodness. Now, what does this one look like? Well, remember, they wanted to have 2 edges on the knife. One gets dull, you have a second knife to use on the other side. You have 2 edges in which to sharpen. Good stuff. Now, this one right here is a variation on the theme. Bum, 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 bum. Being a Tonto-style blade. That's cool thinking. Same deal. There is no edge on the back. It's a flat surface. On this guy, you have one primary cutting surface, and you have a secondary cutting surface on the point. That's just very, very, very cool thinking. Still made in Pakistan. So, you know what? I probably should read these things off the back. You know, you guys can get a kind of like eyeball in there and see what it says on the back of these things. So, let's just go with the original first off. What does it look like? It says Sicut. So, S-I-C-U-T, Leilira, Spencer Design, M/F, Pakistan. So, manufactured in Pakistan. The second iteration here, of course, it's very, very, very new. Hasn't seen, like, you know, since about the 1970s, 80s, whatever it is. I remember these things from the 80s, but they were discontinued, and who knows when. This one is actually stamped as well. Sicut Min-Tan. So this is the next generation, the next model. This is the Sicut Min-Tan. Min-Tan. So Sicut Min-Tan. Spencer Design M/F Pakistan. So variations in the theme. Now, overall length of these guys, let's just do a quick overlay here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The size of these things is almost exactly dead nuts. I mean, Spencer really, really, truly did a heck of a job here. But you know what? I was so impressed with these things, I decided I probably should have another one. So I bought 2 of these Min-Tans. So, I now have 2 of these Min-Tans, and I have the original Leilira, of course, all the various sheets and what have yous. But this is literally, this right here, is literally the very rarest knife I have in my collection. It is so unbelievably hard to source. Most people have never even heard of it, but it is such a rarefied animal that, truthfully, most people will never, ever encounter a Sicut Leilira designed by Keith Spencer. Now, the cool part about it is I got it. The other cool part about it is they might still be out there. You guys are going to have to really search hardcore. But if you want the company information, I'm going to put it in the video description to get the Min-Tan. And I'll tell you what, man, this thing is, for a little itty-bitty, this thing feels hell for stout. The actual blade design, of course, as I said, is pretty much a modified Tonto. The actual handle design on it is such as that this thing actually indexes and feels It feels like you're actually ready to just like duke it out with somebody, man. This thing actually feels very, very secure in the hand. Mr. Keith Spencer designed a heck of a knife when he put his hard work to work. So, folks, I'm going to bounce this thing off you guys and let you guys know about the good stuff, but this is literally some of the rarest stuff I have ever put my mind to try to find, and when this thing popped up for sale, I pounced on it. Now, here's the thing. These are very, very unusual to source. You will probably not encounter one of these probably in your lifespan. If you do encounter one, jump on it. Like I said on the back of this, it says Sicut Leilira, or Leilira. Spencer Design, M/F Pakistan. If you guys get the opportunity to snap up one of these guys, get it. Because there are not going to be many of them still around. And also, you're talking half a world away from the guys that actually used it. There's not a lot of them in the United States. Of course, they're now banned over in Australia because it's that dreaded, nasty, icky, horrible, 2-inch blade, double-edged knife. All right, even for survival situations, you can't carry it. Sometimes it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. But I commend it to you. The Sicut Leilira, the Sicut Mintan, and I'm a happy dude because I now have something very, very unusual, very rare, and very exceedingly cool to put together now on today's knife vlog as a very unusual survival knife. I commend it to you. Pass it along to you guys, and you can see it for what it's worth. Definitely do check out AKC. I'll read again on their website name, www.knivesaustralia.com.au, as in Australia. Give them a yell. They will be happy to sell these things to you. And here's the best part. The Australian dollar right now is not an advantage of the American dollar. You get these things for their price, and you finally find out how much you're getting charged. It's not their price. It's a very good price. The exchange rate is actually in our favor, so I would definitely recommend you guys getting a hold of a Mintan, because this thing is a awesome, awesome little neck knife. And it's not irreplaceable. They're still being made. Good times. I'm going to break up this one, folks. Eat good, keep centering. As always, you know you love it. Knife blog goodness. Leilira goodness. Oh. I am a happy, happy dude. All right, folks, I'm going to break up this one. Eat good, keep centering. As always, you know you love it. Survival knife goodness. How cool is that? Oh, very. See you guys.